Recently I've been obsessed with watching artists on YouTube give studio tours, and I can't stop but notice how much art supplies they have. In this video, I'll show you how I'm building up my art supply, but not in the typical way, but through op shopping. First I'll show you what a typical op shop looks like in New Zealand. Then I'll show you what I have found tucked away in little craft corners. Then I make some colour swatches from the gouache that I found and do an unboxing of some stamps. For those of you that haven't stumbled across me yet on YouTube, I'm Michael. I have 20 years of experience in the creative industry, and recently I hit burnout. It's almost been 2 years since I've stopped, and I'm slowly recovering by small moments of creativity, where I use our garden as inspiration and reconnect in a slower pace. So if you like flowers, garden, nature, maybe this channel's for you. My videos are often reflective and a part of my healing journey, so if they resonate with you, drop a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Op shops have always been something else for me. Small things with history in them, places you wander through slowly, not really expecting anything. But here in New Zealand, these shops carry something more. Many of them are run by charities, like the Mary Potter Hospice, who provide palliative care across Wellington, Porirua and the Kapiti Coast. Care that's free, compassionate and given to people in the place that they call home. And these shops are part of how the care continues. The shift happened to me in the Tawa store. There was a small bag of gouache sitting on a shelf. Loose colours, mismatched, not the full set. Part of me wanted it. Another part kept saying it's incomplete, so I left it. But as I walked away, something didn't sit right. And that was the start of it. What had always been a place for plates and objects suddenly became something else. A kind of search, not for perfect materials, but for whatever was there. Pre-loved, half-used, unexpected. Things that still had something left in them. I ended up finding a box to hold it all, $30, just something solid enough to carry things out to my studio. And that became part of the ritual too. Packing it, unpacking it, seeing it all together in one place. This small palette dish was $3. Not a huge fan of plastic, but it holds the colour and does the job. Then there's the cigarette tin, $5. There's something about old tins, the way they age, the way someone's name has been carved into it. It holds my gouache now, $5 for the set of 35. About 10 tubs make up my working palette. These loose tubes were about $1 each. Now they sit together inside something that used to hold something else. There was a handful of paintbrushes, about 50 cents to $1 each. Around $8 in total. Different sizes, different wear, just replenishing my 20-year-old worn-down set. This one here, the ink, I've been using for the Tetra prints. That didn't come from an op shop. And there's also a leftover test spot from when we painted the house. I kept it, it's a good white, and it found its way into a few pieces. There's another tin, $10, from Great Britain, originally for pencils, now it holds mine. Pencils, rubber, ink pen, all the small things that usually get lost. This little corner cutter has become my new favourite, $5, a little bit random, but I like what it does to the edges, softens them, takes away the sharpness. A small box of willow charcoal, $3, light, messy, it leaves marks on your fingers, just a sponge, repurposed, cut down from something bigger. And these oil pastels, $3, all broken, split in half, some worn right down, but still completely usable, maybe even better this way. The last is a tin from 1953, Queen Elizabeth on the front, originally held chocolates, $15, now it holds the remaining gouache. And then it all goes back into the box. It's part of the ritual now, it's quietly telling my nervous system we're about to create. I then started painting the swatches. Full colour, no mixing, just one square at a time. Writing the number, writing the name, letting each one sit on the page as it was. But what stood out the most was the palette itself. A lot of warmth, greens, earth tones, colours that felt like they belonged outside. No real blues, that was the only thing missing. The spectrum never fully completed itself. But I didn't feel the need to fix that. Once the swatches dried, I cut them down into individual pieces. laid them out on cutting mat and paired them with the tubs. Then I moved them into the sketchbook, one by one, building a reference for what was actually there. That's the thing with pre-loved materials. You don't start with everything. You start with what's left, and that creates its own boundary. I use these colours in my zinnia piece as the base layer, and I think that's what I'm starting to notice more. Constraint doesn't close things off. It gives you something to respond to, something to work with, something to evolve. The next thing I found was a collection of stamps, tucked in amongst everything else, not displayed in a stamp book, not protected, just there in plastic bags. $3 each, I ended up with about 10 bags. I didn't know much about them at first, just that they felt considered. The line work, the colour, the way they connected to my garden sketchbook. Something pulled me towards them. Holding them now, they sit differently, because someone carefully saved these. Deliberately, and now they ended up here, in a second-hand shop, waiting again. I think that's what stayed with me, not just the design, but the lifespan of it, how something can be made with care, used, circulated, and still find a way into someone else's hands to spark something new. And in a strange way, that felt connected to everything else I had been picking up. Not new, not perfect, just offering something for me to creatively explore a little further. If this slow practice resonates, feel free to follow along. I'm quietly rebuilding my creative flow, one small moment at a time.